It's getting close to a year since I told you all that my dad has embarked on his ultimate quest. That makes it sound like he's going to fight in some kind of climactic final battle for the fate of Middle Earth. What I mean is, my dad has had a bucket list item for a long time that he has wanted to do for as long as I've been alive, and even longer. He's wanted to build a 32 Ford, often considered the Holy Grail of old school hot rods. At least according to my dad and Joe. I don't know any better. I'm like a sponge just taking in all that information and just accepting it as true. If you asked me what the Holy Grail of hot rods would be, I'd say probably Lightning McQueen or some shit. If you could build Lightning McQueen and bring that to life or something, I'd say that's probably the most impressive feat that any car builder could ever accomplish. You all know me, I'm a goddamn Neanderthal when it comes to cars. All I know is if it's got four wheels, I can drive it. And if it's got an exhaust pipe, I could fuck it, but I won't. Point is, I'm not a huge car guy. That gene wasn't passed down to me. But I do have a big interest in watching my dad fulfill this dream. And I do think the car is badass. So, I have been doing my best to try and help him with that. And as I told you all about a year ago, he was able to locate one, we purchased it, and they began stripping it down to its bare bones in order to rebuild it better than ever to match his favorite car from his favorite movie, American Graffiti. So I wanted to give you like the almost year update here because I went over to the shop with my father to check in on all the progress and kind of just talk about it. I also want to mention it's not just solely my dad and Joe. Joe has a whole team there that is also helping with this project, and they're all doing an incredible job with it.
Well, good morning.
How's that?
That's been,
It's good. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everybody.
We're doing pretty good with this thing. We got the motor dyno tuned at Rob at Central Florida Machine and Speed. Him and Gene over there. Yeah.
4 2-barrel carburetors.
So what the fuck does that mean?
It means it's going to be haul ass is what it means.
Love that.
It's the exact same intake manifold that was on the American Graffiti movie car.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So I found it in California, shipped it, bought it, shipped it here.
Yep. And we're switching it from automatic to a 4-speed, and so we've rounded up the flywheel, the right flywheel, and clutch for it. And we got the new belt housing because I had another belt housing, but I cleaned it and found a crack in it. We don't do that. And then the 4-speed's right here. It's an M21 close ratio, 1968.
My dad and Joe have built so many cars together over the course of about 35 years, but they've been on a bit of a hiatus, at least as a tag team duo here. It's like Simon and Garfunkel getting back together for them to tackle this project and build this 32 Ford together. It's a thing of beauty to behold. It's kind of like building those Gundams from the kits, but bigger scale. And, well, actually, it's nothing like that, actually. The only thing they have in common is that both get assembled here in very different ways. But the thing is, it's very interesting seeing this come together because my dad sent me videos and pictures throughout this entire process, and it started with them completely stripping that car down in order to build it exactly how they wanted to with all of the material and all the parts, as well as building new parts, ordering new parts, and just really compiling the masterpiece 32 Ford that they both really want to build. And it's super cool to see how far they are. Apparently they're about halfway done with it.
So as you kind of go along, you make what you need and improvise. You know,
A lot of improvising.
A lot of improvising. So we had to switch from a single pedal to a double. So we had to cut all this out and re-weld it all back in. And then Charlie and I had to put the firewall back here and had to recut the firewall for 2 pedals. So we got the clearance done on it.
So that firewall, Charlie, sits right here.
Yeah,
It's
right behind the
It's the
motor.
very front of the body right here.
I gotcha.
So this is what separates the motor from the body, that firewall.
So you put it in behind the pedals?
Right.
So it actually bolts on right here.
Slides in, yeah.
Right, like right here. It bolts on. It's your protection from if something blew up or something happened.
When they first started explaining the progress to me, it was like a completely different language. They did not dumb it down for an idiot like me, so that was jargon and I was not picking up on. There was a couple of words I could recognize as being English, like they were words I'd heard a couple times before, like carburetor, or a couple other terms from Fast and Furious movies. Granny shifting, not double clutching like you should. Lucky you didn't blow the welds off the intake. But overall, once they realized that my eyes were glazing over because I didn't know what they were talking about. My dad then started really putting it into like the plainest terms for a simpleton like me. Like, Charlie, that big firewall piece goes right here and protects you in case of something blowing up. And then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no, I know that. I know cars, obviously. I get it, for sure. Now, they understandably wanted to get a little work done while I was there filming. I was just a fly on the wall. But then, disaster struck in the forged-in-fire Thunderdome.
We gotta loosen these carburetors to pull it off.
Oh, yeah.
That's why, because we got those thick gaskets.
Yeah. What do you want to do?
We'll probably have to change them. You know it?
Yep.
Because I got no way to compress this gasket.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Improvising in a day.
So what we've
Tell me
got
what
is
we're gonna
we've
do.
got thick valve cover gaskets on here. So this threaded shaft is not long enough. It's bottoming out right on that edge. When I try to start it where that threads go into the block. So what we'll do is we'll cut this off and we'll drill and tap it, and then we'll put a longer bolt, screw it in there, and then we'll have the length of the threads where it'll fit to tighten down the valve cover. But that'll take a while to do that, so we're not going to do that today.
Basically, the gaskets were too thick, so they couldn't actually put the valve cover on securely. There was one that wouldn't fit to the engine block because the shaft wasn't long enough. If I only had a nickel for every time I heard that. And that wasn't exactly an easy thing to solve, so instead they decided to just, save that for a rainy day and instead work on something else today.
Here we go, Joe. He just wants to make fun of me now because we got our old man,
Right,
our old
there you
man
go.
chairs. See?
Don't go too making fun of us now.
See how that works? He gives a shit because I told him that we're getting old and we can't get up and down that good and lay on the ground and everything. And I said, when you get old, you're going to have the same fucking problem.
Hey, it'll be
So-
here before you know it.
I just turned 30. I'm starting to feel it.
So we have these roll around chairs where we can roll around this thing.
Yeah.
So but he makes fun of us. You know?
I don't make... I just said it's an interesting technique is all.
But you see why now?
Yeah, oh, no, I see it. Oh, I see it.
Oh, yeah.
Joe, does he ever talk to you about the aliens?
No, we haven't had that subject. So.
Okay.
We will.
Well, what's going on with the alien?
No,
Oh,
he
he-
gives me shit. You realize we're about one thread from frickin' touching that thing?
I know.
Huh?
I wasn't making fun of them for using chairs. I actually think it's really efficient since they have it propped up. Obviously, if, you don't want to just be crouching the whole time, just roll around on some chairs. I think that's super efficient. I don't know why my dad thinks I was making fun of him. Hey, that wasn't me. He's out there fighting a ghost with that. I giggled the first time I heard about his, rolling techniques because the way he portrayed it was comedic. I wasn't laughing at the actual subject matter. I think it's a very good idea. And I was extremely curious if my dad ever talks to Joe about aliens, because my father fucking loves aliens. Anytime I go over to eat, that is one of the first subjects we talk about. It'll either be the food that built America, where he's giving me a lore update on Oreos or the history of Pop-Tarts, and then it's immediately into, yeah, so have you finally seen the light about the aliens building those pyramids? Do you get it now? And I'm always like, nah, Dad, I still don't think the aliens built the pyramids. So I was just wondering if you ever talked to Joe about it, that's all.
We have a Summit catalog. We can buy everything off of Summit.com, SummitRacing.com. There's your plug, Summit Racing. We won't charge you for that, right?
Yeah, that's right. Next time it's going to cost you.
They recognized they were going to need some additional braided cords, so they turned to a catalog. And let me tell you, the way that they handled that catalog made it seem like they were looking at a Playboy magazine. I'm pretty sure they were both salivating at the car parts in there.
Let's talk about the body ready to go into paint.
All right.
So how long have we been body working on this thing?
Months.
But this car was really nice when we got it. The floors are in it. I mean, it was a really solid steel body, all steel. It had been drag raced in the 50s, but it hadn't been all cut up. So the
It
car
had a
was.
bunch of old paint on it, a lot of old paint.
Last time this car was painted was 1950. Like, 59. 59.
They
right.
say it was painted 59. So we had the body sandblasted. That removes all the paint and all the old primers and stuff. And it had like 32s are known for having stress cracks in here for the body flexing. So we welded all those up.
So it wasn't just the frame and everything. They did a lot of body work as well to make it legitimately as perfect as a 32 Ford could ever be. So they spent a sizable chunk of time on the body too. And today they also picked out the yellow that it would all be painted, because the American Graffiti 32 is yellow. And that's actually a pretty big process too, finding the right shade of yellow, because there's so many different yellows. So they're getting that puppy painted. I think that'll be done in the next couple days. I'm not exactly sure when. But this right here is like the almost year mark of the work being done on the 32, and it's coming along really fast. So I imagine in another year it'll be fully done, and my dad's going to be doing fucking donuts in a Winn-Dixie parking lot in that puppy. He'll probably be drag racing that son of a bitch down some kind of deserted highway in Tampa somewhere just for fun. Maybe even racing for pink slips. But it was fun today going out there to see all the progress that's been made on it, and I'm really excited for them to finish the project, because I know it's something that they're both looking forward to, and I'm very much looking forward to as well. I'll take it for a spin. I, of course, probably won't do it justice. It'll probably be me, like, laying on the gas and then off the gas and, like, braking a lot, because I can't really drive stick shift anymore. My dad taught me a while ago, and I've completely forgotten, because it's not like riding a bike. If you're not driving stick, I think most people are just going to forget. Like, you don't retain that. At least I didn't. But anyway, there's one other thing I want to briefly mention here, because I know Joe really wanted to talk about his pink tape measurer. Apparently everyone in the car building world uses yellow tape measurers. That's the gold standard. That is what everybody uses except Joe. Joe uses a pink tape measurer because he said over the course of 30 plus years of building vehicles, he would notice oftentimes people would take his tape measurer. And he had a hunch that if he switched to a pink tape measurer, they might view it as not manly enough and not take it. And it's been about 20 years now, and it's not getting stolen, so I guess his hypothesis was correct, and it's not like it bothers Joe at all. On camera it looks more red, but in person it's like a vibrant pink.
Now tell us about, Joe, tell us about your pink tape measure.
All right, pink tape measure. There's an interesting subject. Years ago, I had people, and my measuring tapes kept disappearing around here. One reason or another, people take them, steal them, lose them, whatever. So I bought a pink one. And I've had this thing 20 years. Nobody has stolen my pink measure tape. I'm cool with it.
So yeah, that is the update on the 32 Ford project. That's about it. See ya.